Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Tourists enjoying boat ride on the picturesque Dal Lake. Tourism is booming even as Kashmir is still grappling with the consequences of abrogation of Article 370 3 years ago. Thousands of tourists are arriving in Kashmir daily. On August 5, 2019, in a sudden swift move, Article 370 and 35A were abrogated. The erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir was split into two union territories and brought under a direct rule of New Delhi. A strict lockdown coupled with a communication blockade was enforced in Kashmir at the time of the abrogation of Article 370. Thousands of tourists, migrant workers and students fled Kashmir in utter panic after government issued advisory urging outsiders to leave Kashmir just 2 days before Article 370 was revoked. The exodus of tourists and the blocking of phones and the internet dealt a blow to the economy of Kashmir. The government advisory was withdrawn after 3 months.
मैं यहाँ जम्मू कश्मीर में फर्स्ट टाइम आया हूँ और फर्स्ट टाइम आने के कारण मैं कभी सोचा नहीं था कि इतना स्वर्ग अपने को देखने मिलेगा। रियली जिस कवि ने बोला है कि जम्मू कश्मीर स्वर्ग है, रियली स्वर्ग है, क्योंकि यहाँ के लोग और यहाँ की जो जनता है अपने को सपोर्ट करती है।
हमें यहाँ पे बहुत खुशी महसूस हो रही है कि यहाँ पे पूरा मतलब जो कंट्रोल जो है वो बहुत अच्छा तरीके से मेंटेन किया हुआ है। यहाँ पे हर एक आदमी सपोर्टिव है।
The move impacted life and livelihoods in Kashmir. Students couldn't attend schools and colleges due to curfew-like restrictions for months after the abrogation of Article 370. The COVID-19 lockdown that followed deepened the economic crisis. Many like Saeed Ashfaq, a Kashmir-based financial analyst, were forced to retrench most of his staff and curtail his business due to the internet ban. 3 years later, Ashfaq is optimistic.
If you talk about optimism comes from the ground situation. Yes, optimism comes from the confidence you have that things have improved. That confidence is still not coming because I told you that uncertainty is there. There's still a lot of uncertainty what is going to happen next. So we are kind of we are in the month of August today. Probably next we don't know when the elections are there's a lot of buzz about elections. So elections will start. What is going to happen in those particular time period. So never know.
Political workers and leaders, including 3 former chief ministers, were detained at the time of abrogation of Article 370. More than a year after Article 370 was abrogated, the District Development Council elections were held in 5 phases in Jammu and Kashmir. However, there is still no timetable for the restoration of statehood for Jammu and Kashmir, which the government has promised to do. The government has told the parliament statehood to Jammu and Kashmir would be granted at an appropriate time. Delimitation Commission has notified orders on delimitation of parliament and legislative assembly constituencies of the union territory. The decision to conduct elections is the prerogative of the Election Commission of India.
एक समाज के लिए खतरा नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानव सभ्यता के लिए और हमारे रूल ऑफ लॉ और आदर्शों के लिए एक बड़ी चुनौती समाज में शांति स्थापित करने, भाईचारा बरकरार रखने के साथ साथ ऐसे तत्वों पर भी कड़ी नजर रखने की आवश्यकता है।
The focus has, however, remained on curbing militancy. There have been a series of anti-terror operations in Kashmir since the beginning of 2022, in which many militants and their commanders were eliminated. A large quantity of arms and ammunition has been recovered from the slain militants. Most of the operations were jointly conducted by the police and the army on the basis of specific intelligence inputs.
जमीन से अपने तस्करी जो वेपन्स की और नारकोटिक्स की करने में नाकाम होते हैं, आजकल बड़ी तादाद में ड्रोन्स का इस्तेमाल इस काम के लिए किया जा रहा है, जो सरहद पार से ड्रोन उठते हैं और जहाँ पर करते हैं। बात यह है कि जब जहाँ पर हर तरह की पॉजिटिव पहल करने की कोशिश होती है, हर पहल उनको तकलीफ देती है, हर पहल जो हमारे पड़ोसी को परेशानी में डालती है।
But perhaps the biggest challenge faced by the government was in the shape of a fresh migration of Kashmiri Pandits from Kashmir after a series of targeted killings of members of minority community. Those who left were government employees and their families. Government told the parliament 28 migrant workers have been killed in J&K since 2017. No Kashmiri Pandit has resigned under PM development package in protest of recent killings of Kashmiri Pandits in the valley. But days after the killing of members of minority community, the Amarnath Yatra was flagged off. The Yatra was suspended abruptly at the time of the abrogation of Article 370, and after remaining suspended for 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemic, tens of thousands of pilgrims from across India took the pilgrimage. A peaceful and incident-free pilgrimage, an indicator of normalcy in Kashmir. After the constitutional changes were made on August 5, 2019, the Houseboat Welfare Trust, a charity, stepped in to provide monthly aid to 600 boatmen whose lives were dependent on tourism alone. Tariq Paltu, owner of 2 houseboats and a guest house, worked as a volunteer for the charity.
ऐसा कहना कि कोई ऐसा कहे कि 370 तोड़ने से या 35 तोड़ने से कुछ चेंज हुई है, चेंजेस थोड़ी बहुत हुई है। क्या चेंजेस हुई है कि लोगों के अंदर डर और खौफ ज़्यादा है। वी डोंट हैव द फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच। हम कुछ नहीं कह सकते। अगर हम कोई भी छोटा सा भी कोई पोस्ट डाले अपने फेसबुक पे या कहीं पे भी, एंड उसी टाइम हमारे ऊपर कार्रवाई हो सकती है, तो खौफ बढ़ गया है। मेरा यही है कि लोगों के अंदर बहुत खौफ है। अगर हम कोई बात करें किसी के भी खिलाफ, तो हमें ख़तरा होगा कि हमें पकड़ के ले जा सकते हैं।
3 years after the abrogation of Article 370, the government claims that security situation has considerably improved in Kashmir and there has been a massive revival of economic activities. But critics will always point towards the fact that statehood is yet to be restored and assembly elections have not been held in Jammu and Kashmir so far. In Srinagar, Zaffar Iqbal for Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.